What's up guys and welcome. I'm going to teach you how to create this really cool looking window with as little effort as possible, as well as this styled window with all this detail here. And I want to teach you and explain how you can use this asset anywhere as often as possible by only modeling it once. Okay, let's jump straight into Max. Okay, inside Max, what I've got is a very simple CAD drawing that I've imported, showcasing a very simple window. I'm going to show you a couple of techniques of actually drawing out a window just like this, and also how to use an asset repeatedly. Even though it's modeled one way, you can still use it over and over with different sizes and different shapes. So the first thing that I'd like to do is show you how to draw a window without any CAD plan. So let's go to plane, and the most important thing to start off with is a complete perfect square. This is really going to help us in terms of dimensions when we don't have anything to trace from. So here's my perfect square. In my case it's 1 meter by 1 meter. I'm going to right click, convert, editable poly. I'm going to go into the edge mode. Shortcut key number 2. I'm going to select those two edges. If I press F3 you can see that edge and that edge is selected. Connect tool, I'm going to choose 2 segments and I'm going to choose the pinch of 80. So what that means is this distance and this distance is obviously going to be equal, and also it is 80% from the center all the way to the left and 80% from the center all the way to the right. So I know that this dimension and this dimension 100% the same. I'm going to press the tick button. What I'm going to do now is select these edges, make sure you select all of them. I'm going to click the connect tool again and I'm going to choose 80 again. The reason this is important is because now I know that this thickness here is equal to that thickness, is equal to this thickness, is equal to that thickness. If, for example, you did not draw a perfect square, have a look. So here's the window that we drew. Right click, convert, editable poly. If I go into the edge mode and I select those edges and I click connect, I click on 2, let's go to 80, press enter. I'm going to click the tick button. Now, if I select these edges, click on connect, and I click 80, have a look at the huge difference between the top one and the sides. So, really important, if you do not have a CAD plan to trace from, then your best method is to draw a perfect square, and from there, we can use this one and manipulate it any way that we want. So now that we have this model here, I'm going to go into polygon mode, which is shortcut key number 4, select the middle polygon. I'm going to detach that polygon, clicking the OK button. Now I'm going to select this polygon again. I'm going to go to the edge mode again. Same process, select those 2 edges, click on connect. This time I'm going to make this a bit smaller, 90. Click tick, these guys, connect, make it 90. So the reason I did that is generally when you're looking at windows, the outer frame, which is this guy right over here, the one that's selected, is thicker, where the middle one is obviously smaller. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a polygon, we're going to click on that polygon right over there. This one we are going to detach and actually call this glass, because this model is basically done from that point. If I go into perspective mode, this is my glass. This is going to be the inner frame, and obviously that is the outer frame. So very simple at the moment. What I'm going to do is select the glass. I'm going to go into modify list. I'd like to give it some thickness. Glass is really important to give an accurate thickness. In my case it's 6 mils. I generally like to work with the in and the outer amount. You could simply go 6 mils there and a 0. In my case I just like working 3 up and 3 down. Hide this model now. I'm going to select this polygon right over there. So this object right here, I'm going to isolate that for you to show you what I'm about to do. I'm going to grab the polygons. I'm going to select these polygons. I'm going to click the detach button, click the OK. And then we've got these ones that are remaining. Now, if I Alt Q this, which is to isolate the object again, I would like to show you that we have unnecessary edges here. Now, at the end of the day, you do not have to remove these, but it's going to make your life a bit easier if you do remove them. So, I've selected all 4 edges, and remember, if you press the backspace key, that's fine, but have a look. If we go into vertex mode, have a look. The vertices are still there, and that's really bad. So what you actually want to do is go into the edge mode, select the edges you want to remove, holding the control key, then press backspace. Now have a look. If we go into edge mode, the edges and the vertices are gone. So that's really useful. Now right click, unhide all. Let's select these guys. So this one is clean, that one is clean. We do need to adjust this one. So Alt and Q there again, and there is reasoning to my madness. Polygon mode, select those polygons, detach, click OK, same process now, we know what we're doing. Remember the edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding control, press backspace, those are removed. Right click, unhide all. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 objects. These are our window frames. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a shell modifier. So this object here and that object there, if I select both of them, I can go into the modify list and add a shell modifier to both of them. Notice how it is in italic. That means that this modifier is an instance to another object. I'm going to choose a 30 and a 30, make it nice and thick. I'm going to select the middle 2 frames, again same process, shell modifier. This one I want thinner, 15 and 15, because again they are smaller. Right click, unhide all. Now we've got our objects. We got our glass right over there, we got the inner frame, these 2 objects, and we got the outer frame, which is awesome. The model is actually complete and finished, because now we can rinse and repeat this model anywhere that we want. It needs a little bit of detail, and this is where the trick comes in. If I select all of my objects just like this, now you can keep them. As you can see, I've got 4 objects over here, or alternatively you can right click, convert to editable poly. Remember, if you convert to editable poly, you're deleting the stack, meaning that shell modifier is gone. I can attach the objects together. So this is my frame number 1. So again, frame 1. I got the inside one, so again, right click, convert, editable poly. I'm going to attach the inside frame together. Now this becomes frame 2. And yes, you can even attach this frame to that frame. Completely your choice, how you prefer to work. What I can do now at this point is select both of these frames. Modify list, press C for chamfer. Have a look where chamfer is right over there. As you can see, it is chamfered all of my edges. Now if I go into amount 2 with 2 segments, that's looking really awesome. And this is why we removed those extra edges. If we hadn't, we would have had extra lines over here, and that does not look good. So if I go into clay mode, you can see we've got our very clean lines, and this is why we detached all those polygons. So for example, let me quickly show you. Here's the exact same model that I did, except I did not detach any of the polygons, and as you can see, we don't have those beautiful lines. Now there are certain frames, yes, that do not have these lines. So if you are looking for this look and feel, then do not detach the polygons. But if you want these beautiful lines over here, then detach the polygons and you'll get those. So what do we do at this point? At this point, save select this model, and you can use this anywhere that you want. For example, what I'm going to do is, and the reason that I've made a chamfer modifier is the following. If I would like to move this and snap it anywhere in my scene, you can see that I've got a beautiful chamfer right over there. To snap this is not going to work. But what I did was, if you remember, we made it a chamfer. So I can actually delete that modifier. Takes the chamfer away. What I can do now is simply snap it into position that I want. I can go further and go into an edit poly mode. Now the edit poly mode with all the items selected allows me to snap this right over there, and I can follow any dimension that I want. And this is the part where having the chamfered modifier helps. And you can simply select all the edges, and what you need to do is just snap each one to the position that you want. And remember, this is one model that you can use repeatedly over and over again, because the detail has already been in there. And as you can see, all I'm doing is I'm selecting the edges and placing them in there. And then we're left with this piece over here, which is totally okay. What we can do is select the middle piece there. Now remember, this is the middle frame, and this is why sometimes it's good not to attach everything. But if you have attached it, you can do the following. Select the element mode, select the top frame. Now holding control and shift, so control and shift, click drag straight down, and then as you let go, it's going to ask you as an element or an object. I'm going to choose it as an element because then it's its own individual item, pressing the OK button, and now you can see that this item right over there is its own model, and all I need to do is snap it into place, go into the vertex mode, move that a little bit up, and there we have it. Now the same process begins. Select everything that you have over here except the CAD plane that we've followed. Select everything with or without the glass, it's not a problem. Go into chamfer mode, and then making sure the amount is 2 mils in my case with 2 segments, And there we have a beautiful window. Again, very easy, very, very clean model. And again, save select this model, you can use it anywhere. So I'd like to show you one more design. Let's go into our plane mode, click and drag, make sure that it's a meter by meter because we're not following a CAD plan. What I'm going to do at this one, the same process, convert editable poly, but no connect mode. I'm going to go into polygon mode, select the polygon. I'm going to go and use the inset tool. So I'm going to choose inset. Let's choose a big inset, let's say 50 mils in my case. Click the tick button. Again, same process, detach the middle polygon, select the middle polygon, and what I'm going to do again is another inset. This time let's choose a bit smaller, let's go for a 30, click tick, and then detach. OK. So the same process we've done, except this time you can see the difference that we're going to have in the design. Top one, polygon, select, detach, enter. This one right over there, select those two, detach, enter. So what I'm going to do is select both of them. I'm going to go into the shell modifier. Let's select the outer frame actually because this one's thicker. Let's go into the shell modifier. This one, let's choose 30 and 30. Let's choose the inner frame. Let's go to shell modifier again. Let's choose 15 and 15. And this time, you'll see the different design that we have. Make sure it's in 2 mils for the chamfer, segments of 2. And now all of a sudden, we have that design, which is also really, really awesome. So as you can see, different ways of creating different designs, the same process applies. And remember, the key is to detach those polygons so you can get those lines right there. And there we go. And there we have it. And remember, rinse and repeat this for basically any shape of window that you want. So let me actually show you how to do that. I'm going to select this guy right here. Let's isolate, Alt and Q. Let's go to the front view. What I'm even going to do is delete this guy here. But I want to show you the difference. So I'm going to grab this and make a direct copy. Holding your shift, click and drag, let go, copy. For this version here, let's delete that. I'm also going to delete the edit poly modifier. I am also going to delete the chamfer modifiers that were on the frames. At this point, we have a standard window with no modifiers. I am going to group it to make my life simple. I'm going to go to modify list. Let's go into the symmetry modifier and let's choose the mirror and let's drag down. So you can see I'm creating a symmetrical version of this window, which is awesome. I'm going to drag it and just by eye, I will place it roughly about over there. So now it looks like we've created the exact same thing, but have a look. So I'm going to grab the chamfer modifier again quickly and just add that on here. And let's do the same settings. Now have a look at the difference that we've actually created. Using the symmetry modifier, I actually created an extra inner frame over here, which of course gives extra detail. So just by using the symmetry modifier, I can create different versions of this window. At this point, just for simplicity, I'm going to delete the chamfer modifier. Let's go underneath the edit poly mode and have a look. So I can make it obviously longer. Now of course can make it wider, which is really cool, right? But it goes further than that. So what I'm going to do is this window right over here, I am now going to add another symmetry modifier. This generally makes my life easier. Go into the mirror. I can of course drag it even further down and now creating even more panes to the actual window, just like that. Alternatively, if you deactivate the Z and let's say go into the X, I can now drag it. Let's click flip. I can now drag it this way, which is now going to create a different version of the window. Again, multiple things you can do with this, and the idea is to use one asset multiple times. So let's create something pretty big. Let's grab another symmetry modifier, and yes, I do like adding continuous modifiers over and above each one, so I know what each one does. You can use the same modifier over and over again if you wanted. One more modifier. Let's go into the X, drag that right across, click the flip, and right over there. Now with all of those, let's go into the chamfer. Let's choose our settings 2 and 2, F4, and have a look at the awesome detail that we've created. Now remember, because we've done it like this, we can easily just remove or hide certain chamfers to see what we've actually done. For example, I'm not happy with this one. I can easily come in here, drag it all the way there, and what's that done for me now is I actually have created the middle panes a lot bigger. So let's do 2 and 2 and have a look what we've got. And do not forget, edit poly mode, you can obviously make them a lot bigger, a lot longer. And the idea is right now, one asset was used to create as many different versions of the actual asset as you want. And that's it. If you like the tutorial, hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you'd like to learn. Until then, happy rendering.